Hello, everyone. It is Friday, our Freedom Friday programming coming to you live. I always go live at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time or Daylight Time. I live in New Jersey. Welcome. We're going to be talking about feeling really sad and going to food for comfort, like comfort eating. So I'm Dana Lee. If you are fairly new to my community, welcome. If you've been here for a while, welcome. Please hashtag replay. I think so many of us will go to food for comfort, and I want to talk about that this week. So I published something on Wednesday to my community. I sent an email and posted it on all the places about my stance on how I felt about being a mother and how I knew this from a very, very, very young age. And I was so fortunate that my family has always been supportive. It's not like we're kind of a live and let live kind of family. Like, it's not been a problem. I've never got pressure from my parents, like, where are my grandkids? Plus I have a sister and a brother who had kids, so kind of took care of that. And on my husband's side, same thing. He knew from pretty much around the same age, like, I never wanted children. Good morning. If you're here with me live, I'm actually going to pull this up on Facebook, so that way I can also see. Can you guys hear I'm still raspy? I had lost my voice a couple weeks ago, and it still hasn't completely come back. Last weekend, I went to an amazing concert, went to the stadium tour with my good friend Colleen, my orchestrator of awesome. And of course, I was yelling and singing all the songs, Joan Jett and Poison and Def Leppard and Motley Crue. Fuck yeah. So that's somewhat of why I had a raspy voice. But anyway, and let me know if you have any of... if you are a big hairband fan. quite the nostalgia there. Okay, let's see. All right, here I am. Got it. Okay, cool. So, and oh, good, Colleen, you're here. You said hello. I didn't know it was you that came through. Okay, so I had published this this story about my stance, and to be honest with you, I mean, I've wanted to talk about it before. I've been publishing content for 14 years. I have been doing on YouTube since 2012, all sorts of workout videos. I would do these like fit tip tidbit videos. People would ask questions. It was like a Q&A. I did that for years. I did mindset videos. I mean, I have published so much content over the years. I've written from the depths of my heart about losing a boyfriend to suicide who was addicted to heroin. I've written and talked and done videos about me losing a business and losing a home and declaring personal bankruptcy, and Steve and I going through that together. And the trauma that has created in my life. And I still am sorting some of that out here 10 days. I wish it was 10 days, 10 years later. However, hey, Mom, Mom knows how I feel about not having children and always supported me. She's like, you do you. You know, I was off to college doing other things and had a different path in life. And you know what? Like, my mother always supported us kids doing what we wanted to do, and my dad as well. So very, very fortunate for that. Just hasn't been a thing. Anyhow, the reason I didn't publish it before in the past is, first of all, it wasn't really relevant. You know, I was like, yes, it's my stance, but it doesn't, you know, this is my career. I teach fitness, or I teach, healing one's relationship to food and themselves now, but it's not really about me. It's about you. It's about your path to truly living your own ideal life. Like, that's really what I do with my clients, is we get clear on how you want to live your life. What is it you really want? And so because that is the foundation of how I help women and how I healed my relationship with food, I have to start sharing with what just happened with overturning Roe v. Wade. I had to share my story of, this is my ideal life. I'm living out exactly how I designed it to be. And I'm extremely happy and fulfilled doing that. And because of that, that also has been why food is a non-issue in my life. I don't use it to feel better or manipulate in any way, although I did that for 2 decades. But now I'm putting, like, all the pieces are coming together, because for a long time I did deny myself some aspects of how I really wanted to be living my life. So I believe in this topic of abortion is a very personal topic. It's for you. It's a decision for you, you and your doctor, you and your family. It's no one else's fucking business. It's no one else's business. And I'm ready to talk about that now. And I just want to say, when I published this on Wednesday, I was like, the first draft, I'm not going to lie, the first draft I wrote was, and if you're here live, please say hello. I see I have a bunch of viewers. Thank you so much for your eyeballs on this topic today. But my first draft over the weekend was very angry. It was very, very angry. And I never send my content out to have anyone review before I publish it. Hey, Bridget. Hey, what's up? I never send it. I was just like, I write it, I kind of tweak it, I'll go back and review it, I reword it. My copywriting, I have constantly worked on copywriting for years now. I'm always working on becoming more powerful, concise, to the point, emotional. How do I really get into connect with my community? So the first draft was a lot of anger, a lot of rage. And I sent it to my husband, because I had included my husband on this topic, that it's his story, not mine, yet we live this life together. So I said, listen, is it okay for me to share about you wanting a vasectomy from a very young age, and that your mom's like, no way, like, what are you thinking? You're too young to make these decisions. And I love my mother-in-law. She is an incredible woman, by the way. So he actually only just corrected me and said, actually, because at first I thought he wanted, asked his mom for permission at 16, and he didn't. He knew from 16, but at 18, he's like, this is what I want. And mom's like, no, not yet. Like, you gotta live your life. Maybe you're gonna meet somebody, all of that stuff, right? Well, turns out his story is very parallel to mine, although it took us, after that point, another 10 years to even meet, right? We didn't meet until our late 20s. He's 3 years younger than me. But, we live parallel lives like that. We both had the same decision about not wanting children. And so when we met, that was another part that was just fit right into place. Steve and I have an amazing, amazing marriage and an amazing life. And that is by design. And that is conscious. And so, of course, I sent him the draft, hey, can you read this? And he's like, so, because he knows everything I put out, I want to be effective. I want to have some sort of conclusion, some takeaway, something that you're going to feel like, okay, you didn't just dump all this on me. There was a reason for the story. There is something to do here. I'm inspired to do this. I'm inspired to apply it to my life in some way. So he knows that about me. And he's like, so, I had this very diplomatic way of helping me to maybe reword a few things. So I certainly did that. I rewrote the draft probably 3 times. So that's why by Wednesday, I was writing it on Sunday night at 9 p.m. And then, took a few days to diffuse and get clear and get concise, and how can I be the most effective? So what I have to say is I was scared to publish my truth. And we just did a video on that, speaking your truth, a couple weeks ago. If you've missed that video, please go back and watch it. It is even more important now than a few weeks ago. And just to let my community know, or anyone new to my community, I put my money where my mouth is. I'm not going to tell you guys to do something that I'm not already fucking doing in my life. I don't work that way. That is not cool. That is an integrity. And I'm that's what I do. So I published the importance of speaking your truth. So here I am, ready to speak my truth. And I was scared and nervous until I wasn't. And then I was so inspired to clean it up and get concise and edit down and blah, blah, blah. And I did send him another draft, but it wasn't even like, hey, can you approve this? It was more because I just respect my husband's opinion on things. And like, he's just like so much a part of how I do what I do every day. Because, you know, behind every powerful woman, there's a strong man, but behind every strong man, there's a powerful woman. I feel like that's just kind of how it works successfully. So anyhow, I published this and it ended up that, well, it's interesting to me. Do you know, I only had 2 unsubscribes from my email list. A big thing we talk about in the community of like using food and having binge eating and under eating and overeating and manipulation around food is about people pleasing and being a people pleaser and being so afraid of not being liked. And that part of me, I felt the message and speaking my truth became so important that it was okay for me to not be liked. It's okay for you to leave the community if you think something different and you feel like you need to do that for yourself. It's okay to unsubscribe. It's okay. It's not, because it's not really about me. It's about the idea. Maybe it is about me. Maybe you personally hate me, and that's okay too, you know, but I have worked through the stuff of really like having the courage to be disliked. And that has taken me years, you guys, years it has taken me. So before I go on, I just wanted to read this. Oh, yeah. Oh, my mom just said, I told you if none of you wanted kids, it was your business and none of mine. I loved you all forever, whether you ever became a grandma. See, and I keep like welling up with tears constantly all week. I'm so like, the freedom to have that and that support has been like other people don't have that. And it's just killing me. It's killing me. Anyhow, so I feel these strong emotions. And the thing of my takeaway is I have not gone to food even once. I'm not interested. I went out to dinner with my friends last night who I haven't seen in a long time. There was a group of us from years ago in a business group. And every once in a while we get together and it's just it's awesome. But even at that, like, I'm not stuffing myself with the bread or I'm not ordering the things on the menu. That's like the comfort things of like the bad food. Like I'm just still honoring my body, nourishing my body, taking care of myself. So I want to talk about, my mom says, oh no, I'm crying too. There's a lot of tears, you guys. There's a lot of tears and there's a lot of rage. I go back and forth. I'm going back and forth between tears and rage and tears and rage. So I want to share again. I always want my talks to be really effective. I want them to be helpful for my community. It's not the Dana show. It's the Freedom Friday with Dana show. But I want 3 things I want to talk about as far as our relationship with food and leaning on food to stuff our emotions down. I feel really sad. I feel enraged. I feel heavy. I feel really heavy. I feel like I just want a break. And I just don't go to food anymore. And I have to just celebrate that. Like that's momentous for me. That I spent over 2 decades, you know, thinking that would actually like help me feel better. And then really it just started creating this pattern of self-loathing and just it's like a constant vicious cycle of just a feedback loop, literally a feedback loop, literally. So there are 3 things I want to talk about when it comes to like comfort eating, how I turn that around. So the first thing is that there must be a strong recognition that it is not about the food. It is about the feelings. It's not about the food. So sometimes when there's that emotional eating or like I overate or whatever, the thing about our diet culture and the indoctrination of that is that our immediate brain is going to go to, I need to track things. I need to write things down. What diet do I go on next to try to fix the food behavior with a diet? And there's a complete disregard with what if I didn't address the food? And what if My new game plan is I want to feel the feelings, even if I don't really want to feel the feelings. Like, what if I'm just tired of constantly trying to avoid the feelings and realizing now, holy shit, in the avoiding of the feelings, I'm creating the worst feelings. I'm creating like even more of a problem because it's just more self-loathing, and I'm heavy feeling, not only feeling like sadness heavy, but heavy in your body. It's showing up that way. It's so what if you recognized or started to think like, maybe it's not really about the food, and what if I actually tackle the feelings? And as scary as that is, that brings me to number 2. It is having a method to sort through the layers of feelings in a way that, which brings me to 3, you feel supported. Okay, so number 1 is you recognizing it's not the food, it's the feelings. Number 2, having a solid methodology to cope and look at the feelings and understand them and be willing to explore them and be willing to be afraid of them. That whole part, step number 2, is huge. And that is what I do. That is what I do with my clients because it's scary to do by yourself. So hence 3, the support. And this brings me to like the video I did a couple weeks ago on speaking your truth. I shared like who you speak your truth with matters. So getting that support. So I'm not going to go through it in this video. You can go back a couple weeks ago. How speaking your truth it's a vital component of healing your relationship with food. So the thing is, and I'm also just throwing this in here right now. I'm throwing my link to talk to me. Oh no, of course I'm not, because it won't keep my, what do you call it in the pasteboard? Okay. RealFit.tv/talk. I had finally set up the proper URL. Listen, I do a lot of stuff in my company on my own. I have a wonderful assistant, don't get me wrong, but like there's so many little details, and like I'm doing the best I can, you guys. I think we're all doing the best we can. It's like, I'll get to this when I can get to this. So here we go. I set up the proper URL instead of the other long string of assessment / all these numbers. Okay, so I just threw that into the chat. My RealFit.tv talk, and that is where you can talk to me. I am opening this up for my community to talk to me. Yes, this is the mindset questionnaire. It is about my program. Yes, yes, yes. And it's more than that. If you have your story about whether you wanted to be a mom or you didn't want to be a mom, and you want someone safe to talk to about that, here's the thing that is like so mind-blowing. And I really I haven't talked about this publicly. I don't ask other people their position, but I'm going to give you a great example. Steve and I will enjoy riding our motorcycles to open houses. We love looking at lake homes, and before the pandemic happened and all of that, like that was one of our little adventures we would do because we're exploring in our ideal life, what type of house would we want to live in? So we would go to all these open houses. And I remember specifically one that we went to, and they always ask because obviously we're looking at a house and the house may have 3 bedrooms or 4 bedrooms or whatever. And I'm thinking, you have your guitar room, I have my yoga room, we have a guest bedroom, right? But the realtor doesn't know that. So they're always have to delicately ask, do you have kids? You know what I mean? Because for some people, they're trying really fucking hard to have kids and they can't have kids. There are some people who have had miscarriages, and there are some people who it's just a very sensitive topic. So what I'll do is anytime they ask, Steve and I will both immediately say, oh, no, we don't have kids and we don't want them. We love our life. We immediately say that. So that way it's the pressure off of the other person. They don't have to feel weird about it. I immediately follow it up with, I have no apologies about it. And this is our stance. And that's it. No one's ever given us shit for that. Ever, ever, ever. Probably because I'm so solid with it and he's so solid with it. It's never been a weird thing. But what will happen is they will say, man, if I could do it all over, I love my children. I love my kids. I love my kids. I love them. But if I could do it all over again, And it's not just like this realtor I'm giving an example from. It's men and women. Women over the years have told me so many times that being a mother was the fucking hardest thing they've ever done, and that they love their children. And if they could do it all over, if they knew more about what all was involved, they might have made different decisions. And that's why this whole overturning Roe v. Wade, it's like there's the secret underground, like women all over are living with this, like, okay, this is what happened. Here's my life. I have to reconcile with it. And then they wonder why there's issues with food, because inside there hasn't been a reconciliation with, oh my God, this is the life. Yes, there's joy. There's blessings. They're amazing. They're a gift to my life. And there's a part of them as mothers that have been shut the fuck off. It's like suppressed. What I want doesn't matter. And then that's where the food comes in. That's where the body issue stuff comes in, because it's so complicated. So that is why I do what I do, because I want to hold the space for a woman to be able to sort through all of that, and to know that, to me, like, I'm one of the safest people you're ever going to talk to. I have had so many things shared with me in confidentiality that they've openly said, I've never even shared this with a therapist. And I'm like, okay, and this is how it's come out in your life, and this is how it's been affecting you. And let's talk about like what led you to this. And I'm just here to ask the questions and hold the space and help you find compassion for yourself. So the main thing I want you to take away from this is that the comfort eating and the stuff that's happening around manipulating food and all of that stuff is just because you were just never taught an effective way to take care of yourself and to take care of your feelings. That's all that is. And you're doing the best you can. We're all doing the best we can. Okay. So at this point in my journey, I'm so acutely aware that in order for me to change the situation and be a force and a leader for fundamental change of freedom, I call these videos Freedom Friday. Freedom is one of my greatest values in my life. One of my greatest values. It's like I wanted freedom from food. I want to be able to do whatever the fuck I want. I want to eat what I want, not have some weird beating myself up in my head, or like, I want freedom from all of that. I want to exercise because I want to exercise, not because I should exercise. So obviously, and even the name of these episodes, freedom is something incredibly important to me. Independence, incredibly important to me. So obviously, as these things are coming up in our government in the United States, even though I am in the state of New Jersey and I am protected where I am in this state, because we are a blue state. I am so grateful for that. And yet I can't stop crying all week. Like, part of me is like, what the fuck's wrong with you, Dana? Like, why do you care so much? You don't even have kids. Why do you care? I can't explain why I care. I don't even, it's like in that parts in my biology of like, I think about my nieces, of course, my nephew, and I think about my friends' children. And, I think about my clients' children, like, I guess that's the part of me. And I work in the foster care system. I don't get paid. It's a volunteer position. I'm a CASA. I'm a court-appointed special advocate for a child in foster care. I just had virtual court yesterday. And literally, I'm like 2 minutes before court having to get myself together because I can't stop crying. I'm like constantly crying. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? I don't know, but I'm showing you this is what's going on. I'm deeply sad, and I'm not going to food because I know what I was starting to say before. I know that food is not the real answer for me staying in the solution of how do I make a change and how do I stay in my power. So if I go back to food, first of all, I can't even explain it. I just am not, my appetite isn't there for even wanting it, even though I'm angry and sad and have despair and I feel helpless and hopeless and I feel like we're living in dystopia. if I'm being honest. It's fucking dystopian. And it's not what America is. United States of America. It's separate states of America. Like, who would want to come live here? Like, who would want to come live here? I have international clients. They're like, I'm glad we live where we live. Like, never, ever. It's always been the American dream, right? So I'm doing my best to take care of myself. I'm not going to food. And the other thing I want to share is that I was actually going to go to Arizona next week on a business trip, and I canceled the business trip. I love business trips. I haven't even gone on one since before the pandemic. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm booking this. I'm going to Arizona. One of my clients lives out in Arizona. Two of my clients lived out in Arizona, but one of them is going to be on the East Coast. So we're going to kind of like miss each other. But I'm like, oh my God, that's so exciting. And I am not in the headspace for that. So I canceled my trip. I canceled my flight. I'm going to cancel my hotel today. I actually will probably just take a couple days off anyway. So I probably will not be doing a Freedom Friday next Friday, even though I'm here and local. So may that also give you the permission to take, like, unplug and step back and take the time you need as well. And again, I put my link in the chat, RealFitTV/talk, if you want to talk about it and you want to figure out that game plan of like, how do I create space for like, so earlier in the week, Monday, I asked this, what does your heart need today? And so many, like a break. So many of you said a break. I need breath. I need to breathe. And you know what? It's up to us to take the break. Like, no, I mean, unless you want something to happen where the break is given to you, and unfortunately, a lot of times that comes with illness or injury or an accident or something. So before that happens, I would say, put the power in your hands and decide I'm going to take a break. Decide like your mental health and well-being is that important. So I'm going to do like more of a staycation, and maybe I'll go to the beach for the day, or maybe I'll do a lot of drawing, or get together with a couple friends, or, do something special. Me and my husband, get out my motorcycle. Always makes me feel good. Yeah. So I know this is a big one today. Like, I don't usually go there. Like, it's not, I share a bit about my life, but not like to this extent that I did. And I'm inspired that I shared my story, and I had other women private message me, email me, share my story with their story. Like, yes, all of that, whatever your stance is, your perspective and your story, your personal story, not an attack on, oh, I think everyone should this, or I think everyone should this. And, calling me a murderer and all of this stuff is not helpful. You write your story on how you're dealing with your body, if you had a miscarriage, if you decided to have kids or not have kids. Like, you tell your story. That is going to be part of our solution. If more of us stayed on our side of the road to own our truth and own our story, there'd be so many less issues and problems. There'd be so much more trust, and we'd be able to build something from a foundation of like, wow, we're human beings. You're human and I'm human. Like, wow, look at us humaning together, So yeah. And Bridget, no kids for you. Exactly. And, I feel like there's a lot of women in my life that I know they don't have kids, but not everyone I talk to about like why, or maybe we were just too young, like Bridget, you and I met when I had Evolution, and, it's not necessarily something we talk about. Like, you're coming to a step class, like, hey, what's your decision on having children? Like, that's not, unless it's relevant for like something you're going through, then we would talk about it. But otherwise, I'm just living my life and you're just living your life, right? Yeah. So, but I think that it's really, really important that if we're honest about how we feel, it's going to like just silently give the permission to others to be like, yeah, this is my stance. And listen, whether you're like, I don't even want to say like pro-life, right? I believe I'm pro-life. I'm pro the life of the baby. I work in foster care. I'm pro-life of the human of my life. Like my life is of value as the mother. And that to me is like incredibly valuing life, like incredibly, because I'm thinking about, I have so many women who have trauma because they were unwanted, and they like, we have to deal with that now with addiction, drug addiction. Like I said, I dated someone who had a heroin issue. His mother did not want him. His mother did not want him or his brother. And he ultimately was a heroin addict. He ultimately committed suicide. His mother is bipolar, like lots of issues there. And I don't talk about that part of his story. So there's this whole like opening up this can of worms that it's very complicated. It's very complicated and has to be an individual decision. If you don't want to have an abortion, don't have one. Don't have one. That is right for you, and that is perfect for you. I'm saying if I were to get pregnant, it would be the worst day of my life, because I have so much ahead of me that I am pulled and called to do. Motherhood's not one of them. I would be a horrible mother. And I know I have so many friends who are like, no, you wouldn't. Yes, I would, because I don't want it. I don't want to be a mother. Like, I can't hide that. It's going to come out in ways that is like, you're a pain in my ass. And like, ugh, I don't want to do this. I'm too selfish. I'm way too selfish. I know what I want in my life. I know I want to live my life. All the change that I'm affecting in the way that I'm helping people who are here on this planet already. That's my job. And I'm good with that. If anyone else is not good with my decision, that's totally fine. You have a right to judge my life all you want. And I can still love my life and my decisions in the process, and then help other women do the same about theirs. Whew. So that's a heavy one, I know. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If any of this is like inspiring you to share, 1, talk to me. 2, you can send me an email, dana@realfit.tv, or send me a private DM, on Facebook Messenger or something. And, if you need to like kind of dump it somewhere of like, this is really truly how I feel, then please do that. I'm somebody that you can absolutely do that with. Okay. All right. I love you. I love all the women in this community. I'm really amazed. Like, I only lost 2 people from my email list when I sent that out. I was like, wow, I guess a lot of people really secretly do want like agency over their bodies. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Big hugs to you too. Thank you. Love you guys so much. The fight is like, the sadness is set in, but I'm about to turn it over to action. And I'm really going to be strategic about where I want my energy and my dollars to go, because I already do some donating. I've donated things for years that I believe in, right? If you're a member of my, if you're a client of mine, we donate together to the Ocean Cleanup Project, and we donate to something called Grow a Row, which helps to give farm foods to underprivileged and those who don't have access to real whole food. I already donate to those 2 organizations, and I will probably do something with, if it's not Planned Parenthood, then some other reproductive rights thing. And that's going to just be part of what we do together as a community. If you sign up to work with me on any level, then some of your dollars, our dollars together, will go towards, fundamental change for our rights to freedom. So yeah, you definitely can count on me for that, right? I'm not just going to say it. I'm going to figure out strategic ways of, how do I get involved? Where do we put our dollars that are really going to make a significant difference? And not just about like getting out to, rally. I mean, maybe that's some of it, but I don't know if that's right for me. I feel like there's some other foundational place I want to start in understanding our system. So I'm going to do my best, because Steve's so good at this, my husband, to understand the breakdown of like how we got to where we are, like the foundation of our government and the systems and decade after decade and politics and how all that works. So then I can understand, where do I really want to put my energy? I already have a couple ideas with, how things are set up, even like the Electoral College, for example, big problem. So, so I want to think about that. And it may take me a little while to figure out like where I do want to fight. And like I shared in my post, funny, because I'm not really a fighter, even though I teach kickboxing and love kickboxing. I just want to rally towards the effort of rising up for solution and alternative solutions and choices. and, just need a little bit of space and time to weigh out those options, so then I can help you guys even make a decision as to where you want to get involved, right? And you guys can share that with me. I've already gotten emails from you ladies of like where you're getting involved and what you're doing. It's amazing. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for being part of our community. I am not one to ever talk about politics on here. I'm just not going to do that. Today was different. It's not political. This is human rights. This is absolutely a human right issue, and I can't keep my mouth shut anymore. I can't. It's the emotions are just coming out, and I can't. I'm just called to do something different. Thank you, and we're gonna skip next week because I need some time off. Let that inspire you to be okay to do what you need to do for your heart and your space and your thinking and processing the emotions. So you do less of going to food and you do more of the feeling and being honest with the feeling. Notice I'm not apologizing for crying. I'm not going to apologize for crying. All right, you guys. Love you. And I hope to talk to you very soon.